Arsenal. 5 games, 1 title, and everything hanging in the balance. Right now, as of today, Arsenal sit second in the Premier League table, not because they have played badly, not because they have lost ground through poor performances, but because Manchester City won their game against Burnley in midweek, and that single result changed the entire picture of this title race. Both clubs are now level on 70 points. Both clubs have the exact same goal difference. The only thing separating Arsenal from the top of the Premier League table right now is the number of goals scored. City have scored 3 more goals than Arsenal this season. 3 goals. That is the gap. That is the margin. And that is what makes tomorrow's game against Newcastle United so enormous. Welcome back to Melissa Arsenal Analyst. I am your host, and today we are going deep. We are covering everything. The team news, the manager's press conference, what the players are saying, what Newcastle are saying, the transfer rumours swirling around this club, and what all of it means for Arsenal as they enter the most critical 5-game stretch of their entire season. Stay with me because there is a lot to get through and every single detail matters. The team news, let us start with what every Arsenal supporter wanted to know heading into this weekend, the squad news. Mikel Arteta, speaking at his pre-match press conference, confirmed the following. Bukayo, Saka is probably going to be in the squad. Riccardo, Calafiori will probably be in the squad as well. However, Jurrien Timber will not be in the squad for the Newcastle game. Now, let me read that to you exactly as it was stated. Arteta said, and I quote, Bukayo Saka is probably going to be in the squad. So good news, Riccardo Calafiori will probably be in the squad as well. Jurrien Timber will not be in the squad. My analysis on this is straightforward. The word probably is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Arteta is a manager who protects information carefully before big games. He does not confirm things he is not sure about. So when he says Saka is probably in the squad, that is as close to a confirmation as you are going to get the night before a match. The fact that Calafiori is also likely back is significant. These are 2 important pieces of Arsenal's attacking and defensive structure returning at the exact right time. The absence of Timber is disappointing but manageable. The bigger picture here is that Arsenal are getting players back when it matters most. Saliba speaks. Now let us talk about William Saliba, because what he said ahead of this game tells you everything about the mentality inside the Arsenal dressing room right now. Saliba said, and this is important to absorb, last game against Manchester City we wanted to win and we didn't, but it's not finished. Now we know what we have coming and we know what we have to do if we want to win the league. We have to start on Saturday. We have good pressure with us because when you play football, you want to play these kinds of games. We're ready for that, my analysis. Saliba is not deflecting. He is not hiding behind excuses. He is acknowledging the pain of that Manchester City result and immediately channeling it into focus for the next game. The phrase, we have good pressure, is crucial. A lesser player, a player who lacks confidence, describes pressure as a burden. Saliba describes it as something that comes with playing at the highest level. That is the mentality of a champion. Arsenal will need that energy on Saturday. Arteta on Zubimendi. This was one of the warmest moments from Arteta's press conference, and it reveals something important about the culture he has built at Arsenal. Arteta was asked about Martin Zubimendi, and here is what he said. I mean, to play 50 games for Arsenal in your first season at the level that he's done and the amount of games that we've won, you have to do things in an exceptional way. He then added, he's very much liked by everybody. You can sense that. If you go back to clips in September, October, November, I can show you when he scored goals or assists, the reaction and how he feels with his teammates is so good. We are blessed to have him. My analysis, 50 games in a debut season is not just impressive, it is extraordinary for a midfielder joining a new league, a new system and a new country. Arteta's use of the word blessed is not accidental. This is a manager who chooses his words deliberately. He is publicly affirming Zubimendi at the most important moment of the season. That kind of public confidence from a manager is priceless for a player's mindset heading into the final stretch. Arteta's framing of the run-in, or this is where Arteta the psychologist shows up. Because managing a title race is not just about tactics, it is about controlling the emotional temperature of an entire football club. Arteta said, it's 5 games to go, 4 weeks, 2 big competitions to play for and everything to play for. If someone would have told us at the beginning of the season, we would have taken it. And we are so excited. Tomorrow versus Newcastle is game 1, my analysis. Notice what Arteta is doing here. He is not saying we need to win the title. He is not saying the pressure is immense. He is reframing the entire situation At the start of the season, being in contention for the title with 5 games to go would have been celebrated as a success. He is reminding his players and the fan base of that context. And then the final line, tomorrow is game 1, not game 34, not the penultimate run-in. Game 1, fresh start, clean slate. That is masterful management of expectation and pressure. Eddie Howe responds. Now let us switch to the other side of this fixture. Newcastle United's manager Eddie Howe addressed the Arsenal game and his comments are revealing. Howe said, "Definitely an opportunity for us. No matter what game you have next, you have a chance to prove yourselves again, and most importantly, to ourselves. We need to focus on ourselves. We are looking at how we prepare and plan the game, but also looking at our intent, our attitude." My analysis. Eddie Howe is a professional manager and he is putting a brave public face on what is a deeply difficult situation for his club. Newcastle have lost 4 consecutive games. They sit 14th in the Premier League. The calls for Howe himself to be dismissed are growing louder. When a manager is talking primarily about intent and attitude before a game, rather than tactical plans and match-winning strategies, it often signals that the team's basic competitive confidence has been damaged. Arsenal will know this. Arteta will have studied these words carefully. How Aon Walt made and Wissa. Transfer reporter Fabrizio Romano shared Eddie Howe's comments about 2 Newcastle forwards who did not start their last match. Nick Waltermaid and Yoane Wissa were both absent from the starting lineup. Howe said, "Like with every player not playing, they have to show their worth on the training ground." My analysis. This is a short quote, but it carries real significance. Howe is dealing with internal selection issues heading into one of the most high-profile away fixtures Newcastle will play this season. When key attacking options are being told to prove themselves in training, it suggests there is tension around the forward line. Arsenal's defensive unit will take confidence from the fact that Newcastle's attacking options are unsettled and under pressure before the game even begins. Before we continue, if this kind of deep, detailed analysis is what you want on your football content, please hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications. Every major Arsenal story gets this level of attention on this channel. We do not skim the surface, we go all the way in. Now let us continue. Arteta on Saka's return. This is one of the most important stories surrounding Arsenal right now. Bukayo Saka's return to fitness and form. Arteta explained the situation clearly. We have given him some time because there was a moment that he was struggling to sustain the performances because he wasn't comfortable at all. He had some time for himself and now it's the most important part of the season and he's back with us. Arteta then added, "I think it was a good moment for him as well to reflect, to have some peace because we've been constantly asking and demanding him. And it was a moment to say, okay, now when you feel ready, let us know and we'll go for it." My analysis, this is a manager who understands that elite athletes are human beings first. Saka was struggling, he was not comfortable. And rather than pushing him through that discomfort and risking a total breakdown in form or a mental health issue, Arteta gave him space. Now Saka returns not just physically fit, but mentally refreshed, and the timing could not be more perfect. If Saka is available on Saturday and in good condition, Newcastle's defence has a genuine problem on their hands. Saka's statistics this season. Let us now contextualise just how important Saka is to Arsenal with the numbers. Despite an injury-affected, inconsistent season, Bukayo Saka has created 52 chances for Arsenal this season. 44 of those came from open play. Critically, this was achieved without Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz consistently around him. The comment shared publicly said plainly, do not underestimate the importance of having him in the squad for tomorrow. My analysis, 52 chances created is not just a good number. In the context of the injuries Saka has managed, the absences around him and the stop-start nature of his season, it is a remarkable number. It tells you that even at 70 or 80% fitness and form, Saka remains Arsenal's single most productive attacking threat. Having him available and refreshed for the Newcastle game is arguably the most important piece of squad news Arsenal could have received this week. Arteta on Saka and Calafiori's return. Arteta was also asked directly about what it means to have Saka and Calafiori back in the squad together. His answer was measured but very telling. He said, now we need to get the best version out of them, so being available is not enough. Being available with your best version is what we need in this stage of the season, but at least they are with us. He then continued, they make us certainly stronger. We miss them. And now all the players that have just come back as well, they're going to have more games, more minutes, and hopefully we will see better performances as well. My analysis, Arteta is managing expectations brilliantly here. He is not saying the title is won because Saka and Calafiori are back. He is saying availability is the minimum requirement. He wants peak performance. That distinction tells you how high the standards are inside Arsenal right now. It also signals that these players will likely be managed carefully, possibly with one eye on future fixtures, even as they return. Ian Wright's title prediction. Arsenal legend and television pundit Ian Wright gave his verdict on Arsenal's title chances, and it is worth examining in detail. Wright said, we're going to win the league. The chances we created against that City side, I think we could do the same against the teams coming. Obviously, we're going to have to be a lot more ruthless with taking our chances. He then acknowledged, but before that, leading into that, I didn't see us creating enough chances in the games leading into that, in a time where, with the history of what we're doing in this stage of the season, we've kind of faltered. Wright continued, I thought in that Manchester City game, the big game, we created enough chances where if we do that against other teams and get ourselves back to that defensive solidity that we had before leading into this part of the season and finish this with ruthlessness. And finally, we started the season with ruthlessness, with people saying, oh, it's Arsenal's to lose. Everybody was saying it because we looked absolutely faultless in the way we were. Now, everybody's faltering, and in this City game, I thought we did enough. If we can play like that, even if we're trying to creep over the line, we can probably do it. My analysis, Ian Wright is not blindly optimistic here. He is honest. He acknowledges that Arsenal have historically struggled at this stage of the season. He admits the chance creation has been inconsistent in the games leading up to the Manchester City fixture, but his confidence is rooted in a specific observation. Against the best team in the league, Arsenal created enough chances to win. If they can translate that level of performance against the remaining 5 opponents, combined with the ruthlessness they showed at the start of the season, the title is within reach. That is a logical, evidence-based case for optimism, and it is worth taking seriously. A Saliba's battle cry. William Saliba gave 2 separate sets of comments that together form what I would describe as the most powerful public statement from any Arsenal player this week. In the first set of comments, Saliba said, I think we need to be calm. We need to die on the pitch as well, because it's now we have to go, and we need everyone, the supporters, the team, the staff, everyone, because we have to do it now. After that, it's too late. The opportunity is now, and we must give everything we have and fight to the end. He then added, when the season is finished, it's too late. You have to start the next season. It's now. You have to give everything and die on the pitch, and reaffirming his belief. Last game we wanted to win, and we didn't, but it's not finished. Now we know what we have coming, and we know what we have to do if we want to win the league. We have to start on Saturday. We have good pressure with us because when you play football, you want to play these kinds of games. We're ready for that. My analysis, William Saliba is 23 years old. He is speaking like a captain who has been through title battles before. The phrase die on the pitch is not dramatics. In football language, it means leave nothing behind. No energy held in reserve. No cautious performances. Everything, every time. What is striking is that Saliba is not talking about opponents. He is not fixated on Manchester City. He is focused entirely on what Arsenal must do internally. That is the hallmark of a winner's mindset. This message will have resonated deeply inside the dressing room, and it should give every Arsenal supporter genuine belief heading into Saturday. Arteta on-goal difference in the Premier League table shown in image 14 is stark. Manchester City sit first with 29 goals against and a goal difference of plus 37 and 70 points. Arsenal sit second with 26 goals against and the exact same goal difference of plus 37 and also 70 points. City leads solely on goals scored. When asked about goal difference and whether it could play a decisive role in the title race, Arteta said, we don't know. We're only talking about our potential, about deserving to win matches and then achieving that. Depending on the situation, we can think about other things later, but the priority is to be better than the opponent and then win. My analysis, Arteta is absolutely right to refuse to get drawn into a conversation about goal difference. The moment a team starts chasing goals rather than winning matches, they become vulnerable. Tactical discipline breaks down. Defensive shape gets sacrificed for attacking ambition. The correct approach is precisely what Arteta describes. Win the game first. Then, if necessary, the margin of victory can be considered. But the primary objective is always 3 points. Vieira on Gyokeres. Former Arsenal captain Patrick Vieira gave his assessment of Victor Gyokeres, and it provides an interesting perspective on the striker's role in Arsenal's title challenge. Vieira said, I've seen Victor working hard out of possession, and he's always working hard for the team. I've seen him making the run to create that space, and for some reason the ball didn't get there yet. He then added, but I think he's somebody who has more to give than what we've seen, and I like his energy and I like his spirit when he's on the field. He's a real team player, and scoring goals, he will score goals. I don't have any doubt about that. My analysis. Patrick Vieira is making an important observation here. Gyokeres has been running the channels, creating space, pressing from the front. The output in terms of goals may not yet fully reflect his contribution, but Vieira, as a former elite player who understands how football works beyond the statistics, sees the value he is adding. The confidence Vieira expresses, saying there is no doubt Gyokeres will score goals, is significant, coming from someone who has been in high-pressure situations at Arsenal and knows what quality looks like. Arteta and the Opta supercomputer. A journalist put an interesting question to Arteta in his press conference. The Opta supercomputer had given Arsenal a 65.5% chance of winning the Premier League title. Arteta's response was simple and direct. Win tomorrow and then we'll be much closer. I have belief in our players, in our people, and the willingness that we have to achieve what we want. My analysis. This is Arteta at his most composed. He does not get excited by statistics. He does not dismiss them either. He simply redirects the conversation back to the only thing that matters, the next game, the next 3 points. When Arteta says, I have belief in our players, that is not a cliche. That is a manager who has built this squad over several years, reminding himself and everyone watching of the foundation he has constructed. 65.5% is a strong position to be in with 5 games remaining, but Arteta knows probability means nothing without execution. Mikel Merino injury update. There was positive news on the injury front regarding Mikel Merino. The update confirmed that Merino is out of his boot and is now pain-free, with his recovery progressing very well. Arteta was quoted as saying, he's pushing every boundary to return to us before the end of the season. However, the medical team is managing Merino carefully with the 2026 World Cup in mind. It was noted that a return this season remains too early to confirm, and realistically, supporters should expect only a very limited late appearance at best. My analysis. This is bittersweet news. On one hand, Merino being out of his boot and pain-free is a significant step forward. On the other hand, Arsenal will not be able to plan around his involvement in the crucial final games. The World Cup consideration is sensible from a medical standpoint, but it does mean Arsenal must finish the job without one of their key midfielders available at full capacity. The pressure on Zubimendi, Thomas Partey and the rest of the midfield unit therefore increases significantly. Paul Merson's prediction. Now let us move to the analytical piece around Saturday's match and the prediction from former Arsenal man Paul Merson. Merson described this as, and I am going to present his thinking accurately, a humongous football match. He noted Newcastle's desperate recent form, 4 consecutive defeats against Barcelona, Sunderland, Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, and acknowledged that Arsenal should win given that context. However, Merson was clear about the stakes. He said directly that if Arsenal do not win this game, it is effectively all over in the title race. He described Arsenal as being in the last chance saloon, and he raised a chilling possibility. There is a scenario where Arsenal could win every single remaining game and still lose the Premier League title, simply because Manchester City score more goals. I think Merson also acknowledged the unique dynamic of this fixture. Arsenal versus Newcastle is always a battle in midfield. It is physical, it is competitive. Newcastle have caused Mikel Arteta's side problems in this fixture in recent seasons. Even if Arsenal have won the last 2 meetings, including the reverse fixture at St James's Park earlier this season. My analysis of the Merson prediction, he is right on every point. Newcastle's form is terrible, and that gives Arsenal a clear advantage on paper. But football is not played on paper. Arsenal need to be wary of a wounded opponent with nothing to lose. Newcastle under Eddie Howe, even in a struggling state, are capable of competitive performances against top 6 opposition. The task for Arteta is to ensure Arsenal impose their quality from the first minute and do not allow the game to become the kind of scrappy, physical battle that can suit a desperate team. Arsenal need to be clinical, they need to be dominant, and they need to win convincingly enough to shift the goals scored calculation in their favour. Gabriel Magalhaes and Real Madrid. Now, let us address the transfer stories, because there are significant developments that Arsenal supporters need to be aware of. The situation with Gabriel Magalhaes is as follows. Real Madrid have been circling the Brazilian centre-back and view him as a top target in their defensive rebuild. Interest has already been tested behind the scenes. A January approach was made and Arsenal rejected it outright. Arsenal's valuation of Gabriel is between €100 million and €110 million. His contract runs until 2029. Arsenal's position is crystal clear. Gabriel is not for sale. My analysis: Arsenal holding firm on Gabriel Magalhaes is absolutely the correct decision. The man is a cornerstone of this title challenge. He is under contract for 3 more years. The fact that Real Madrid came in January and were immediately rejected tells you everything about how Arsenal view him. No amount of money from Madrid changes that equation unless Arsenal decide their rebuilding plans require a fundamental change in approach. Based on everything visible right now, that is not happening. Arda Guler transfer interest. This is a significant transfer rumour, and I want to be transparent that it remains a rumour at this stage. It is being reported that Arsenal have made direct contact with the camp of Real Madrid midfielder and Turkish international Arda Guler to explore a possible summer transfer. Mikel Arteta is described as driving this pursuit personally, viewing Guler as a versatile playmaker capable of rotating with Bukayo, Saka and Martin Odegaard. Arsenal are reportedly on standby depending on how Real Madrid's summer plans develop. My analysis: Arda Guler is a genuinely exciting name to connect with Arsenal. He is a technically gifted, creative player who has shown his quality at Real Madrid when given the opportunity. The rotation role described is interesting because it suggests Arsenal are thinking about building depth in the creative positions rather than simply replacing any one player. However, I want to be careful here. This is a rumour. Arsenal have made contact. They are monitoring the situation. Nothing is agreed. Nothing is confirmed. In the transfer market, contact does not equal a deal. But the interest itself, combined with the profile of the player described, is consistent with the kind of signing Arsenal have been pursuing in recent windows. Kerim Alajbegovic winger target. The second transfer story involves a young winger by the name of Kerim Alajbegovic. The situation is as follows. Arsenal are among several clubs interested in the 18-year-old Bosnian winger who is currently on loan at Red Bull Salzburg from Bayer Leverkusen. He is attracting attention from Roma, Inter Milan, Napoli and Borussia Dortmund as well. Roma are currently believed to be leading the race and have already held talks with his agent. The player's profile is striking. He stands 1.86 metres tall. He plays on the left wing. He has already broken into the Bosnian national team at 18 years of age and is heading to the World Cup with them. He made an immediate impact in the World Cup qualifying campaign, replacing former Arsenal player Sead Kolasinac at half-time in Bosnia's win over Italy. The connection to Arsenal's current squad is notable. Riccardo Calafiori faced him during that World Cup qualifying match and had a difficult evening. The winger played 74 minutes and finished with a match rating of 7.6 on SofaScore, recording 3 shots, 2 key passes, 44 completed passes and 52 carries. He is described as raw but exciting, capable of bursting forward, shooting and providing assists. My analysis: Arsenal looking at wingers for the summer makes complete sense given what has happened with Saka's injury issues this season. The idea of finding a left-sided winger with pace, technical ability and an eye for goal is clearly a priority. However, it is important to note that Alajbegovic is described as still raw. At 18 years old, he would be a developmental signing, not an immediate solution. The fact that Roma appear to be ahead in the race also means Arsenal need to decide quickly if this is a genuine priority target or simply a player they are monitoring at this stage. The point about Calafiori's experience against him is interesting context. Arsenal's own technical staff will have that data available and will have formed their own view, but supporters should understand this is an early stage interest, not a done deal. What this all means, let me bring everything together now and tell you exactly where Arsenal stand as they prepare for the most important stretch of their season. The title race is genuinely alive. 2 clubs level on 70 points. Identical goal difference. 3 goals separating them in the goals scored column. 5 games remaining. This is as tight as it gets. The team news is more positive than it might have been. Saka returning to the squad after a period of mental and physical recovery is huge. Arsene Calafiori's likely return adds defensive and attacking quality. The loss of Timber is a blow, but Arsenal have the depth to manage it. The mood inside the camp, based on every piece of information available, is focused and determined. Saliba's words about dying on the pitch are not the words of a team that has given up. Arteta's reframing of Saturday as Game 1 is the psychology of a manager who refuses to let his team feel the weight of history or the fear of failure. Newcastle arrive at the Emirates Stadium in genuinely poor form. 4 consecutive defeats, internal selection questions, a manager under pressure. Arsenal playing at home with momentum, with key players returning and with the belief of legends like Wright and the logic of the Opta supercomputer behind them are in the right position. But none of that matters if Arsenal do not execute on Saturday. The facts are simple. Win and the title race enters its final phase with Arsenal firmly in control. Drop points and it is effectively over. I believe this Arsenal squad understands that. I believe Mikel Arteta has prepared them for this moment. And I believe that Saturday is the day this title race takes its decisive turn. That is the full picture. That is your complete analysis for today on Melissa Arsenal Analyst. If this is the standard of content you want, subscribe right now and share this with every Arsenal supporter you know. The title race is on. Let us go.